Give it up for Allie. What up, Freefall? How you guys doing tonight? I feel like I should be strumming something, but I don't have like an instrument or anything because I do comedy. But she told us like artists come out and strum your guitar and get the crowd ready. So I'm like, maybe I could like play the belly or something like that. I play a mean egg slicer. Like, you guys remember those? No, a lot of you kids don't know because now you got like the battery-operated egg slicers. But when I was a kid, we had to like put them on and use our hand. We didn't have a button and batteries to cut our eggs for us. And I play a mean one. I should have brought that. Next time, remind me to bring my egg slicer. Does anybody in the audience have an egg slicer? Oh man, I'm screwed. This is the second issue I've had tonight. Before I left the house, I had a fight with my cat. Because my cat approached me and was trying to have an intervention. She discovered I've been taking her Valium. But here's the thing. A couple weeks ago, my cat started going to the bathroom all over the house, and one night she peed on me in the bed, so I took her to the vet. She was diagnosed with anxiety, so they gave her a script for Valium and Xanax. And when I went to the pharmacy, it was like $4 for 90 days worth of Valium. And anybody here who's an adult or who has taken Valium knows, for people, that's cheap. Okay? Like when I was buying Valium, it was like $90 for a month's supply. So I said to the pharmacist at Walgreens, I'm like, excuse me, is this the same Valium that I'm paying $90 a month for? And my little kitten is getting like for $4, like a half a year's supply? And she's like, yes, Mr. Felber, but you're not supposed to take this Valium. But that's when I realized I'm 300 pounds. I could easily overtake a 9-pound cat. Yeah, so that's not really a joke. I just like to start off my act talking about the Valium because in the parking lot afterwards, like, I sell a Valium to make money. You know, you saw like out there was a table that said artist merchandise. I didn't put my Valium on there, but I have it in my pocket. I sell like $10 a pill. No, I'm kidding. I don't really take Valium. I have it on Prozac since I was 3, though. Yeah, it's my parents' fault. I was 3 years old. I grew up in New York, and they took me to get my first Santa Claus picture, and it was a black Santa Claus. And no, it's not a racist thing. I said, Mom, why'd you do that? She said the line was shorter and it was cheaper. Yeah, to be economical. A few months later, she took me to get my picture with the Easter squirrel. But I did have good stuff happen this week. I just turned 43. I'm like, I'm just saying that because I'm looking at this crowd, I'm thinking you guys are like, I'm like 6 times most of your ages in here. But I had to go get not all you, not the old people in the back. They're like, I bet you it's going to be loud tonight. My kid's going to be plugging in that acoustic guitar. They're having like flashbacks to Woodstock, you know. But I went to the doctor this week for a physical because that's what you do when you get old. And I used to be 514 pounds, and this week when they weighed me, I'm down to 300. Yeah, I've lost like the whole front row. But it was cool because my doctor's like, Wayne, you've gone from morbidly obese to just obese. I was like, holy crap, I'll be fat in no time. I was like, are you kidding me? And then I was thinking, if I keep this going by like 2017, I'll just be chubby. Yeah, that's what I'm aiming for, because like by 2017, I'll be 45 when I go to my high school reunion in Daytona and wear my thong bikini at the beach. Yeah, just visualize that. Oh no, wait, some of you guys are so young. Don't visualize that. I just scarred you for life. I feel like Law & Order SVU is going to show up at any moment now. They're like, did you just tell those kids you were wearing a thong bikini? It's not true, I don't wear underwear. They don't make them in my size. They don't. But you guys laugh. I'm German, Italian, Jewish, and Irish. We eat, we drink, we fight, and then when we're done, we got a crap load of guilt about the whole situation. But growing up as a kid, a lot of you guys can't relate to this because most of you guys were born in the 2000s and the 90s. But back in the 80s when I was a kid, they didn't call us fat or obese. They called us husky. Yeah, and the only place that sold husky clothes was Sears. Yeah, and you'd walk into Sears with your mom, you'd start walking towards like the kids section. You know how excited you get when you want to buy new clothes or new shoes. You're like, yeah, I get new clothes. And mom was like, no, that's not what your clothes are. Your clothes are in the back of the store by Tent and Automotive. And you're like, what? Like, yeah, like you're a freak show, and they're like, he's going to need pants, he's going to need socks, underwear, and a tent, and a Coleman stove, and a spare tire. You know, that's what their theory was. And the only pants they sold were corduroy. You kids know what corduroy is? Oh, I wasn't sure. It's coming back, okay. Because I don't know if it's making a resurgence amongst you young. I'm getting old because I'm calling you young people. But they only sold corduroy. So I'm like 297 pounds, and I'm wearing these corduroy pants, which, like, for those of you that don't know, they're like a slotted groove, you know, like a railroad track type situation. And we're on the playground, we're playing Red Rover. You guys know that game? Red Rover, send Wayne over, and always the first kid picked because I'm husky. So I start running, and the grooves start rubbing up against each other, and all of a sudden, people are like, run, there's bees attacking! And then my thighs are so big, it starts like a forest fire. And back in the 80s, when you caught fire, their advice was stop, drop, and roll. Okay? I don't know if they do that nowadays. If you catch fire, you probably have some app on your phone that just totally puts you out. Like, I got the put me out app, but when we were kids, we didn't have apps and we didn't have cell phones. So you dropped to the ground, you started rolling. So here I'm on the playground, I'm on fire. My thighs are like flame. I catch fire. Fire everywhere. I'm rolling around. I look like that last hot dog that's on the skillet, like at 7-Eleven at midnight. You know, the one that nobody wants to eat except for me? The one that the guy's like, this has been here, Mr. Felber, for like 12 days. You're like, I don't care, I'm a fat dude, I will eat that hot dog, it looks so good. And I am high. On life and on God. Because don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. But if you do drugs, anybody in here do drugs? Anybody hold it? Come on. Nobody's got weed? Man, I'm disappointed in you kids. When I was your age, we smoked weed. And we liked it. We would walk uphill both ways in the snow, barefoot, to get a joint. You guys really let me... Oh, I know what you kids do. You do that Molly stuff. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Okay, let me tell you something. I was at a show 2 weeks ago, and a girl came up and said, would you like some Molly? And this is how old I was. I had to Google, do I want to do Molly? Not something you want to Google in your phone. Never Google, do I want to do Molly? Do not put it in that phrase, because pictures will pop up that you don't want to see, okay? But I found out what it is. It's ecstasy for you older people. They just changed the name to make it prettier. It's like it's a higher grade of, like, you probably have some. I'm looking at you. You got the flashback to the 80s, the skinny tie. You got Molly, right? You have some? I'll trade you some. I have a Percocet, Vicodin, and Xanax. Let's trade. We'll make a trade for Molly. I like that. I'm kidding. Yeah, no, don't do drugs. But if you do drugs, let me give you some advice. Okay, if you do drugs and you have a credit card, which probably a lot of you guys do because you kids nowadays get everything for free from your parents, not like when I was a kid and we had to work for our money. That was my dad on. He didn't give a crap. He didn't. But no, if you have credit cards or a checkbook and you're getting really high and it's like midnight, give it to someone. Because, like, I don't do drugs anymore, but I had to go through chemo and I did some drugs during that time. I smoked a little pot, and I've since given up any drugs. But the one night I did it, I smoked so much that, like, the next month my wife came in the house and she was yelling and she had our MasterCard bill. And she was like, do you realize a month ago, that night you got really high, that you adopted 6 of those little Haitian children off the TV? And you bought like a shake weight, and one of those things you put the cucumber in and you can make spaghetti out of it? It's crazy. Real quick before I go, because I have a limited amount of time, I want to pass on some advice that my grandmother recently gave me. My grandmother just turned 99 years old. Yeah, she's convinced she's dying, and we're actually kind of pulling for her because she has money. And, hey, come on, you know, in front of a bunch of teenagers at the Freefall, maybe the comedy career's not going the direction I needed to go in, and the drug business, obviously, tonight's going to be kind of slow. But, no, she's convinced she's dying, so this week, this was her advice to us. And if you got a pen and paper, write this down. You can make a poem out of it or a song, whatever you artists like to do, but pass this on to your friends. She said, grandson, if you have to pass gas in public, stand next to somebody poorly dressed or fat. I said, look at me, that gives me 50% chance of getting away with it. She said, why do you think I'm always sitting next to you? Anyway, I'm Wayne. That's my time. You guys have a good night.